Happy Monday, folks. Welcome to another edition of Morning Workout Talk, brought to you by Literary Pharaoh. Happy Monday. You already know where I'm going if you are a consistent listener of my Monday, Wednesday, Friday talks. I call them Talk Time. And the title can be a little bit misleading because it says morning workout talk, but I'm not talking about working out. It's just me talking on my way to workout in the morning. So it's 4:20 in the morning right now. I'm on the road to the gym. The gym opens up at 5. I get up at 3:45 in the morning, take care of what I need to take care of, brush my teeth, get my clothes ready, get my stuff ready. Now I leave. Now I'm on the road. It didn't take me that long to get to the gym. The gym is about, I say, maybe 15 minutes away, 15 minutes away from my house. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't have a long commute to the gym. So when I woke up this morning, I had this weird feeling, and well, I wouldn't even call it weird. Let me not say weird, because the term weird, when people say weird, it has a negative connotation that's attached to it. I don't want you guys to think that it was something negative, but there was something that was stirring up in my spirit, and I wanted to talk about it today. I wanted to talk about the importance of communication, the importance of talking. And I know a lot of the times we hear the term communication and people use it so loosely, especially people love using it in the confines of relationships. They'll say, to have a good relationship, you have to communicate. And those things are true. I'm not denying that at all. But what I am saying is that just as much as we put a lot of emphasis on relationships and the significance of communication within the relationships, if communication in relationships is very important, then how much more is communication amongst people? I think that we need to talk to one another more. Not through social media, because social media, people who have like social media accounts, or people who have channels, or people who are social media personalities, that's exactly what it is. It's a personality. It's a character. And you guys only know about me based upon the information that I provide. So the information that I provide you is controlled. Well, somewhat to a degree. Most of my videos are not in a studio. All of my videos are not in a studio. I don't know why I'm saying most. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I just have a phone and I record. Most of the times when you guys hear me doing videos, you hear my kids in the background. So if anybody subscribes to my channel or anybody likes my videos, it's not because I am bringing you or providing you some type of visual theatric, something to tantalize or stimulate your optics. And I'm not giving you that. If you're listening to me, you're purely listening to me because of the content. Here I am driving in my car, and it's 4-something in the morning, and it's dark. You can barely see me. So I don't even think that anybody listening to me talk in the mornings when I'm headed to the gym, I don't think you're listening to me because I have music, or I'm entertaining, or I have, I don't know, or I have this crazy personality that draws you in. My channel is strictly for thinkers and adults. I'm not here to woo in the immature-minded person. And age to me is nothing but a number. And I know most of my subscribers are in their 40s. Most of you guys are in the 40s. I may have people listen to me that are teenagers. You never know. So I don't. Age is nothing but a number in terms of your wisdom. There's certain people who are young, but they have an older soul. They have more of a mature soul, a mature mind state, and a mature mindset. But with that said, I think that we need to talk to one another more in groups, as individuals. I think too many of us are living in seclusion, meaning that we talk only because we have to. Like going to work, some jobs you have to talk, whether you work retail or customer service. So in that sense, I understand. Now, when I say communicate, I don't mean communicating with the people that you're used to always communicating with. I'm not talking about the same group of people you always talk to. I'm not talking about the same friends you always talk to, because when you continue in that realm and you are consistent with those people in your inner circle, then it's very difficult to grow, because you're not expanding outside that circle. Your circle becomes very stagnant, meaning that it cannot expand. I'm not saying make friends. There's a difference. Talking to people of different backgrounds, talking to people from different ethnicities, people who didn't grow up like you. It's good for us to get a wider sense of who we are as a collective in terms of this human experience that we are embarking on, this journey that we call life. And believe it or not, communication is a soothing apparatus for the soul. It's something that's needed. It's something that's required. But too many of us are not doing that. We talk to people who we know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, talking to people who you know, that's fine. But we have to expand. You say, how do I do that? That's a good question. It means just speaking to people that you don't know. You see a stranger, hey, how you doing, man? Have you heard of this? Like, we have to open ourselves up to let people know what we know. So many times people who are in religion, especially those who call themselves Christians, they're taught to open up to people. They're taught to spread the gospel. They're taught to tell people about Jesus and bring them to a state of salvation. So in a sense, people like Jehovah's Witnesses, people like Christians, or people who call themselves missionaries who go to different countries to try to convert people into the religion and believe in Jesus Christ. Those people are put in a position to do what they're doing out of duty. It's not something that's naturally in them. When I'm talking about communicating, I want you to make it something that's natural in you, because you have something to say. See, religious dogma and religious doctrine teaches people, especially from the Christian worldview, the Christian point of view, they're brought out to say, hey, go out and spread the gospel. That's a duty. So I feel like if they can go out and talk to people, we as well, whether you are a believer or not, you have to be willing to talk about things that you do know. And it doesn't have to be confined to just religious talk. It can be anything. Because there's more to life than what religious books are saying. We have an experience here in this realm, in this third dimensional realm called life. And we have our experiences, and it's only fair that we share those experiences with one another. That's the only way we can grow as a human race and evolve. As long as we continue to go back to religious books and religious texts, we remain retarded. The process of growth, it's retarded. It's stymied. It becomes immovable, because you can't move, because you remain in that same cipher of always trying to decipher okay? The same scriptures and content. The same holidays are repeated and regurgitated year by year. The Easters, the Christmas, the this, the that. You know, it's just, he rose in 3 days. I mean, how many times are you going to hear that same damn story? There's more to life than that. While you're sitting there studying a book that comes from where you don't know where it comes from, you're missing out on the opportunity to live life. Communicate with other people outside the religious mantra, outside the themes of religion. True spirituality is communicating with one another on the very, very base and simple level. Spirituality is not complicated. It's not something that's nuanced. It's not something that takes a lot of hard effort. We're spiritual beings by nature. It's who we are. We can't. You're not made spiritual. You are spiritual. Your existence in this realm, though we are physical beings, we are spiritual as well, because every time we communicate, it's generated by thoughts, and thoughts cannot be seen, so they can only be manifested through the physicality of talking, where the audible ears can receive a message and interpret the message as being conveyed or sent or transmitted. So we have to communicate more. That's the most spiritual thing we can do as people. And even if you want to communicate about religion, communicate. You might have differences. It's okay. At the base level, we're still humans, and we still all have the basic human needs. We still want to be loved. We still want to be nurtured. We want to be understood. We want to feel important. We want to feel like we have purpose. All that stuff, we're all common. But these tools of division that have been put here deliberately and intentionally are being used to separate us. And we're falling right into the traps. We only communicate with our own. This religious group stays with that religious group. That religious group stays with that religious group. This group stays with that group. This race stays with that race. We become prisoners of our own selves. We're so comfortable with ourselves, and we're so afraid of expanding outside of ourselves due to the lack of comfort that comes with expanding yourself. We don't feel the need to do it, so we remain in a state of comfort. And if you're always seeking comfort in life, then you're slowly seeking death, because comfort is a slow, subtle way that leads to decay and death. You say, why? Well, if you don't use something, if you don't use certain parts of your body, if you want to always remain comfortable and have people do things for you, think for you, because that's comfortable. It's comfortable not to do anything. If you don't use a certain part of your body, it atrophies, like your muscles atrophy. That's on a continuum that leads to death. Atrophy means that you lose the muscular girth. You don't have the buildup of the muscle because you're not using it. So when you're not using your mind atrophies because you become a person that lacks the skill of critical thinking. When you don't use your mouth to conversate, then you're killing your ability to express yourself. In other words, you're killing your true spirituality, because spirituality comes with expression. When people are dancing, that's spiritual. When a person is listening to music and they're bobbing their heads, that's spiritual. We are spirit beings. It's not about praying or getting on your knees and asking for some savior in the sky to come help you. That's I almost cursed. That's BS. That's the furthest thing from spirituality. The furthest thing from spirituality is what the world tells you is spiritual. The world is inverted. I've been trying to teach you guys that for so long. It's not what you guys think. I had to literally unlearn a lot of the things that I've learned. It's not what you guys think. What I'm doing right now on this YouTube video is spiritual. You say, how was that? I'm communicating. And as you're listening and you're formulating your own thoughts or your own opinions about what I'm saying, that's the spiritual connection that we're having. Now, the hindrance in this is that you can't talk to me back. This is a monologue. It's like one message going out, and I'm not getting feedback. Now, the feedback I do get is delayed. Delayed feedback means that I may have a person put a comment and say, hey, you said this, what do you mean? Or I like this. Okay, that's feedback, but that's later. I usually don't get feedbacks on these videos. Another form of feedback, if I get a couple of views, that lets me know that somebody was listening. But in terms of me receiving the same message through the same means that I sent the message, no, because no one's talking back to me. So this is not a dialogue, this is more of a monologue. Mono means one. It's just me talking to you. So it's still spiritual, because as I'm doing this, it's therapeutic to me. I'm expressing myself. I have things to say. I have things within me. You don't have to be a great speaker. You don't have to be a great writer, but we live in a realm where we have to express ourselves. Even people who have the inability to speak, they still have ways to express themselves through body language. They have sign language. They can use their hands to communicate. Communicating is a necessity. If you can't communicate, you're dead. Even a baby that comes out of the womb first day is communicating. You say, how? They're screaming, they're yelling, they're telling you either they're comfortable, they're hungry, they're frustrated. Communication is who we are. So I find it very difficult to live in a way that pulls me away from communicating, because what the world has done, it's taken a tool that's the most spiritual tool, communication. The world has taken that tool and used that as a weapon. You say, how? I'm going to tell you how. Communication is a tool for spirituality. So let's weaponize communication. Let's take the overarching theme of communication that's up here, and we're going to create a bunch of substrates. All right? A bunch of subgroups that come from communication. Subgroup religion A, religion B, religion C, religion D, religion E. You have all these religions. They all communicate, right? But they're all communicating within their own reference. So religion A, all the religion A people go over here, communicate here. Religion A and religion B don't communicate because they're two different beliefs. Religion B and religion C don't communicate because they're two different beliefs. So you see how the overarching theme of communication that's supposed to bring us all together has been used to actually separate us more? Because every religion, and I'm using religion for an example, you could add politics to that. You can add people's sexual orientation to that. You can add people's race to that, because race is a dividing concept. You can add whatever you want to add, whatever social construct that's put here to divide, it's there. So communication is the overarching theme that brings us all together, but yet the rulers and the controls of this world, because they understand human psychology, which is something that we don't understand, we fall right into the traps all the time. What they've done, they've created substrates of the overarching theme of communication and created so many subgroups. And within the subgroups, there's subgroups within the subgroups. So you have people who are religious, and because people are religious, you have political affiliations that use religion as a means to garner more votes. So people who are religious tend to vote a certain way. Then people who are liberal tend to vote. So you see how it is? It's so many subgroups. They're all communicating, but we're not communicating together. They're only communicating within their own groups. What are they communicating about? They're communicating more on how to be more divisive. Because if Group A is only communicating with Group A, they're feeding off each other. So Group A, the saying where it goes, iron sharpens iron. Well, in Group A, they're sharpening each other with more ignorance. Now, to them, it's more knowledge because they're learning from one another. They're getting deeper into their stupor. In other words, whatever belief system that we have, whatever affiliations that we're under, we're all talking about it. We are evolving within that circle. Well, we're not evolving together as a collective. So the more we evolve within our capsule of Group A, we become stronger in what we believe in, therefore causing us to be more secluded from the other groups. So when groups are together talking, it seems good on the outside. It's a tribal mentality. The stronger you are within your tribe, the stronger you are within your class or within your group, the more grounded you are in your beliefs. And the more grounded you are in your beliefs, the more segmented you are from other people. you are secluded from them because your beliefs are stronger and you're strong in what you believe in, and they're doing the same thing. So if you have cluster A and cluster B, or group A and group B, who are grounded into what they believe in, and they're sharpening each other within their own referent, within their own group, then when you come out sharper, you become sharper to attack the others that are not like you. So therefore you have divisions and you have infighting, and you have, when I call it infighting, because we're all humans, but we're fighting underneath the cluster of communication. But we're all supposed to be communicating together as one, fighting against the common enemy. But we've made ourselves the enemy of each other because we've put ourselves in groups. So when I say that we need to communicate more, it's not just communicating with the people that you're used to. That's why I said earlier, when I started this video, I said, yeah, communicating is good, but expand that. Communicate with others that are not like you. And let's focus on the things that we have more in common than the things we have that are different. Because there are more things that we have in common than we have that are different. So that's the state that we find ourselves in. That's the state we find ourselves in. It's not really something that could be solved in one day, but usually when a change like this occurs, it usually has to take some kind of catastrophic event, a worldwide catastrophic event. But even that, even some of those, well, not some, most of those events are controlled. They're not natural. There's no such thing as natural disasters. Everything is controlled. Even the deluge that happened in ancient times, the prehistoric deluge, you guys would know it as the flood of Noah. That was orchestrated with technology. That wasn't something that was that naturally happened, but because the simple-minded humans that were on the planet couldn't understand how something like that can happen, they attributed it to some kind of supernatural force or some supernatural power. Nothing is supernatural. Now, it's supernatural to us because it's happening outside the natural confines of our space-time continuum, our time-space continuum. It's outside our three-dimensional construct. So when something happens that we can't understand, we attribute it to being supernatural because it's not something that our natural senses can understand. But just because our natural senses can't understand it doesn't make it supernatural. It just means that we don't understand it. And there are other beings out there that are more advanced than us, that are much smarter than us, that can do things that we can't do. It's with technology, folks. Think about the emergence of drones and the type of technology we have today with cameras and Wi-Fi and fiber kinetic internet, and how we can communicate worldwide in seconds. Imagine going to somebody in the 1500s and talking to them about that. They're going to look at you like, oh my God, you're so smart. You guys are almost like godlike, because we can't talk that way. We have to write letters. We can't communicate like that. But you see, when you have technology, you can do things that the simple-minded person can't do. It doesn't mean that the person that has the technology is a god. It just means that they are open to it. They are living with it, and they have access to it. So these extraterrestrial beings are the ones that understand us more than we understand ourselves. And I've made many videos talking about that our world, somebody, I was listening to one YouTube channel. They were talking about the weather modification systems and talking about how, the same thing that I tried to, let out on my channel about the weather systems, about how they're using geoengineering to attack weather. It's called modern weather warfare. It's modern because, there's nothing modern about it. They've been doing it, but because the technology has increased in terms of its power, the technology has gotten more advanced. So it's now, we call it modern because the advancements in the technology are modern, but weather modification has been going on since the beginning of time. Even going back to the flood of Noah, that was a weather modification system. That rain, for how long it rained, is not natural. That's something that's incorporated by technology. It doesn't naturally rain like that. And somebody made a comment on that channel I was watching. I forgot the name of the channel. The guy, somebody said, we're gonna pray to God. No, because they were talking about how dire the planet is, and how the our life support system on this planet is being depleted in terms of the oxygen levels, the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the depletion of the ozone layer, and how so many organisms are dying off. Plant life, marine life, even some land mammals or land animals are being depleted. And it was talking about how the disruption of the hydrologic cycle is critical. It's very detrimental to our existence on this planet. It talks about all the toxic fumes that we're breathing in. It kept on going on and on. And somebody left a comment. They said, hope the Lord has mercy on us all, and something till he comes back, or something to that effect. And when I read that comment, though it was short, it was one sentence. It wasn't like the person wrote a paragraph, but that one sentence said so much to me. It said a lot. It said a lot. It said a lot to me. It said, hope the Lord has mercy on us all. When I read that, I was like, wow, so there's a sky God that loves us all. He created us in his image, and he loves us all. He wants the best for humanity. He wants the best for you. He loves you so much that he sent his son to die for your sins. He loves you so much. But yet somehow the person writes down that, I hope the Lord has mercy on us all. So my question is, if this God loves us so much that he was willing to give up his son for our sins, did we upset him again to now ask for mercy? Hasn't mercy already been given? Then people will say, well, yeah, mercy's already been given. It doesn't matter what happens in this world as long as you go to heaven. That's the problem with religion. It doesn't, you marginalize the reality that you have here. It's an insult to the creator of the universe that you are marginalizing your experience here as an earthling, as a person that's on earth, living your life in the state of consciousness that you have, and you just bypass the things that you have in front of you. You keep looking elsewhere. You see how that creates a high sense of apathy within the soul, a high sense of indifference where you don't care. Well, you care, but you don't care because, well, this world is evil anyway. God's going to destroy the world anyway. I'm going to just pray, hope he has mercy on us all, and I hope I go to heaven. So essentially, what that message said to me is that the person, and I responded. I said it's ironic that you're praying to this God. Would it be too difficult to ponder the fact that this God you're praying to is the God that's behind the weather modification systems? You're hoping and praying that this God has mercy. Well, this God's not having mercy because this God who's in control is allowing, okay, let's put it this way. It's twofold. Either the God that's in control is in control of the weather modification systems, being that it comes from an extraterrestrial source, and people on Earth believe these extraterrestrials to be gods because they were worshipped as gods back then. These extraterrestrial beings were just fighting over territory. That's what all they were doing. That's why the Bible, a lot of the times where it says God, it's supposed to be plural. They curated it and changed it to singular. Elohims. Don't you know ye are gods? Plural. There were other gods well, when I say gods, not in the sense that you guys think it. These beings were just extraterrestrial beings that were worshipped by humans. So either A, this God is in control and he doesn't have mercy because he's the one in control of the weather modification systems. You say, why? Well, if you modify weather, you can shorten lifespans. You can control the planet. Certain regions, they still have that geographical war going on today, folks. It's like a bunch of people coming up on land and they're fighting over the land, but you can't see the people that are fighting over the land, but they're using people to fight their wars, which is why you have God of the Bible telling this tribe to go over this tribe to kill women and children and animals. But yet he's a loving God, but yet you're killing your creation. That doesn't make sense. That's a huge contradiction. Oh, those people were evil. They deserved it. But he loves us all. So what is it? Either he loves us all or he hates us all. He can't be both. Can we just say that these beings are just beings like us? They're governed underneath the law of duality. They can do good, they can do evil. There's no sentient being, sentient meaning that you are aware. There's no sentient being that's always good all the time. Just like us, we're not good all the time. Sometimes we make decisions that are based off of selfishness and greed, and sometimes we make decisions that are better, that are high vibrational, that operate on a high frequency. These beings are fighting for territory. They're just as greedy as us. What do you think we get our mentality from? They are our creators. That we are created in their image. So the person saying, Lord have mercy, is twofold. Either you're saying, Lord have mercy, stop the weather modification systems and stop these depopulation programs, like with the pandemic and the medical practices and the protocols that they're pushing for people to get. Or either this God that's in control is allowing other people to control it. So therefore, even if you believe in a God that's in control, he's still culpable and responsible, because if you're in control, why would you even allow bad things to even happen to teach a lesson? That doesn't make sense. I don't want to serve anything like that. And I've told you guys before, stop serving anything. The best thing you can do is be spiritual and serve one another. Communicate with one another. Break the barriers of division. Break the barriers of division. They started with communication in certain different languages. If you read ancient tablets and the ancient texts, that was the first form of dividing humanity and conquering humanity, was to cause different languages, to cause language barriers. Then after language barriers, then you have, group barriers. The examples that I gave earlier about people being in different groups, because you can all speak the same language, but you're not even safe there. Because even underneath the umbrella of communication, underneath the mantra of speaking in terms where you can understand one another, speaking the same language, that doesn't even matter, because you have all these groups that inserts more divisive concepts. And the more divisions we have, the sharper we become in our own groups, therefore making us more hostile to one another. It's an alien agenda at heart, because true humanity wouldn't do that. But we don't believe that. We just believe this is the way it was. There's one sky daddy that's in the sky watching everybody, and he loves us, and one day he's gonna come. I mean, guys, you gotta wake the hell up. You gotta wake up. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe, but I'm trying to force you to think deeper than what you've been provided. There's a certain way we've been made to think. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied here. There's a certain way we've been thought to think. That's what you call indoctrinational brainwashing, because it's washing you from your natural state of thinking. And your natural state of thinking is demonized, because if you think for yourself, then you're being selfish, you're being carnal-minded. You're supposed to be spiritual. Anyway, guys, I've talked enough. I've talked for about 30-something minutes. It's 4:52. I'm going to start getting myself ready. But thank you guys for indulging me in another morning workout talk, brought to you by your literary pharaoh.